everyone, and welcome to Women's Biz Tribe Success Summit. If you're just tuning in, a special welcome to you. If you've been following all of our amazing speakers, oh my gosh, how insane the variety, the caliber, the breadth of women around the globe just constantly dazzles and inspires me. And there's just been so many incredible practical tips that we've been hearing already throughout this summit, and we have many, many more to come. I am introducing you to our next amazing speaker. Oh my goodness, I'm just loving that yellow on you, Dr. Carrie Graham. It's just popping on my screen. Dr. Graham is a learning and solutions expert. Her business has helped people overcome their integrating learning practices for adults. You know, how do we actually continue to learn, to continue to grow? She's an author, she's a researcher, she's a presenter. She's got 25 years of experience in instructional design, leadership development across a broad range of industries. So I'm so looking forward to you sharing your message with us today as to, who you are, how have you become, who are you serving, what success means to you. Oh my goodness, you're going to have so much to share. So welcome, Carrie.
Thank you, Annie. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate the time and opportunity to share with you all today. So to get started, I want to ask you this question. Have you ever asked yourself, why is achieving long-term success so challenging? Or have you asked, how did I get here? Again, my name is Dr. Carrie Graham, adult learning consultant and instructional design strategist, and I'm here to address how adults learn and describe success. In my nearly 3 decades of training and development work, I can confidently say that many women, including myself, frequently ask these questions. As business owners, there's a tendency to ask ourselves these questions more than we'd like to admit. And that's because descriptions of success is an ever-evolving experience. I want to share with you my description of success and how it has evolved over the years. I was an only child growing up. I wore thick glasses. I had short hair, knobby knees. I was super shy, and I was a very average student. At that point, success for me was not wearing glasses, having long hair, and getting good grades, and also having more friends. When I turned 13, my younger sister was born. I was still pretty shy. My body nor my grades had changed, but instead of changing those things to be successful, success for me was to be a great big sister to this beautiful little girl. How I viewed success, even at an early age, evolved as my young life changed. I'll come back to my story in a minute, but now I want to invite you to reflect on how you define success when you were younger. Take a few seconds to think, what had to happen in your life as a child for you to feel successful? If you can, I encourage you to write down how you defined or perceived success as a child. For many, for some, I should say, being able to meet your basic needs was a success. For others, it may have been getting good grades, excelling in an activity, or having brand name clothing to identify as being successful. Success through our childhood eyes should not be dismissed. Rather, it should be viewed as the groundwork for how we learn different descriptions of success later in life. The interesting thing about reflecting on our past is that it very quickly puts our present into perspective. A 2014 article published in a social and behavioral sciences journal concluded that intentional reflection provides an opportunity for discovering new information. I would like to add that intentional reflection also can help us discover new insights about ourselves, our circumstances, and even our deepest ambitions. Here's another question. As a young adult, meaning 18 to 25, what did you want to have a successful life? With empathy, I am inviting you to take a peek back at your early beginnings. Did your description of success include a glamorous job? Did it include children? Or perhaps it included sobriety and good health? Some years ago, I learned that although 18 is considered an adult in many countries, the part of our brain that controls behavior, specifically self-regulation, doesn't fully develop until we are in our mid to late 20s. And that is the point when how we learn really changes. As an adult learning consultant, I'm compelled to share adult learning research, which indicates that adults have rich life experiences that we use to learn new information, new skills, or to make sense of how, in fact, to change things we already know and do. With all that being said, I'm ready to share my adult life and career journey of success with you. So, I graduated from college in May, and 30 days later in June, I was starting a master's degree. Everyone in my program was assigned to work at a local college for on the job training. All of my classmates were assigned to various local colleges in the area. I was assigned to a secondary school, a high school. My dream job at that time was to work at a large university. So for me, not getting a college assignment, I viewed it as unsuccessful. My first professional job was a 1-month temporary position at a well-known university. I viewed it as a partial success. Then, after 2 1-month contract extensions, they hired me full time. And with that, I achieved my career goal. I succeeded at 26. But then it happened. After 2 years, I was offered a job at a larger university on the other side of the country, and I live in the United States. There, I knew no one. And in an instant, my description of career success changed. The funny thing is, I was happy with my initial success. It was challenging, and I was meeting those challenges head on. But life happened. An unexpected opportunity was presented, and thank God things worked in my favor. Again, I was growing. So I moved across the country to work in an environment that was 5 times larger, causing my description of success to change. I love this job. I was traveling with a group of young women that I absolutely adored, and it was all paid for by the university. I genuinely cared about my coworkers. But during my fast paced, exciting job, all around me, there was conflict. In my department, there were illegal activities by some healthcare providers, there was gambling, and unethical behavior by some department leaders. I personally was consistently missing major holidays with my family because of my job obligations and the distance to travel home. My sister was in high school, and I basically missed her entire upbringing. And my stepfather had a heart attack while I was working there. And my mother asked me to come home and help. I viewed my current job as successful, but that success was leaving me sad, discouraged, and depressed. My biggest success had become my burden. Then life happened again. This time, I was recruited to teach at an equally large university, but in my home state. Now, here's the thing. I never had ambitions of teaching. In college, I studied sports medicine, and that's the work I had been doing since I graduated. I considered the job because it was closer to my family, and I thought a teaching environment would be a nurturing place for me with no misbehavior. So I took this new job I had never considered doing, and I was going home, which at the time I viewed as a failure. I was no longer off in the world doing cool, exciting things. I had no concept of what success could be in this new chapter of my life. Have you ever found yourself at a point where you had no idea about what being successful would or could look like? When when you're in when you're in unfamiliar waters, how do you describe success? I encourage you to jot down a time in your life when you initially had no way to describe or see success. When you think of it in those terms, it's pretty scary. But it is also a time when, as adults, we automatically reflect on our past experiences to navigate this unfamiliar terrain, to gain our bearings, and to move forward as we formulate yet another description of success. So now I'm a university professor with a new description of success that I'm working toward. In 2009, I had been an educator for 6 years. And that August, I got the dreaded pink slip. I was being laid off because I didn't have a doctorate degree. The challenge was that I was notified in August that I would not have a job at the end of the school year. So I had to keep teaching knowing I was going to be unemployed soon. Let me tell you, my description of success definitely changed. Success for me during those long 10 months was being able to continue doing my job to the best of my ability and with dignity without falling apart. Success became a day by day goal. And sometimes it was literally minute by minute. I was incredibly embarrassed, ashamed, confused, disoriented, and worried. I had a mortgage bills to pay all by myself. And I was definitely asking, how did I get here? You know, I cannot share my layoff experience without highlighting unemployment statistics. The US Department of Labor reported that in January of 2019, 6.5 million US citizens were unemployed. And in April of 2020, the number of unemployed people soared to 18 million, reflecting the effects of the pandemic and our efforts to contain it. I share these statistics to show that layoffs and unemployment are a part of our society. It's an experience that many people are directly or indirectly impacted by. That doesn't change how adults understand, experience, and feel about being laid off. It becomes part of our life experience, forcing us to learn perseverance, patience, grace, humility, and how to ask for help. Whether you realize it or not, adults are constantly learning. Sometimes we can use that learned knowledge to guide our next steps. As adults, we are internally motivated, problem solvers, and have rich life experiences that prompt us to actively engage in learning. The bigger our problem, the more motivated we are to learn how to successfully solve it. I share this because in business, we cannot assume everyone has the same internal motivation. We cannot assume that everyone has the same problem or sense of urgency to solve that problem. The point is, when you acknowledge the differences of internal motivation, the different existing problems, you are setting the stage for engaged and committed learning. This commitment to learning increases our capacity to understand and retain new information. Our perseverance to learn goes up because our internal motivation and the problem is important to us. As business owners, guardians, friends, our responsibility is to provide meaningful ways to support successful adult learning comprehension and information retention. When I was being laid off, I had a couple of coworkers that offered me support. They provided me space to learn how to manage all of it in a way that was appropriate for me. During this time, I needed to explore my options in very small chunks, and it needed to connect with something from my past to help me identify the best solution moving forward. If we follow this learning process of one, understanding adult motivation and life experience as factors to support and improve learning comprehension and retention, it brings us to the final step in the adult learning process, which is to accurately apply what we've learned. Now, we're going to overlook the fact that as we age, we naturally forget a few things here and there, but rather let's focus on when we are committed, we will learn and remember what we need to make appropriate decisions. Part of this decision making includes evolving how we perceive and describe things. In some cases, that thing is success. As I conclude, throughout my life, I had a perception of success. My life would take a turn. Sometimes it was a positive turn, and in other cases, it felt like my life was spiraling out of control. And that became my problem. I was fully motivated to solve this problem. And during my exploration to solve it, I reflected on my past experiences to learn potentially new solutions or something about myself that I could leverage to take my next steps, while ensuring my next steps were my right steps. So, answering the question, why is achieving success so challenging? The answer is because our life is constantly evolving. And so we must learn and use new descriptions of success that meets our needs. And to the question, how the heck did I get here? The answer is our life is constantly evolving. And how we use that question to guide our learning is where the true answer lies. I hope that sharing my description of how I learned to navigate the evolving description of success has inspired you to intentionally reflect on your own description of success. And I hope I was also able to introduce you to a bit of adult learning theory. In closing, I encourage you to create your own description of success and understand that your description will often change as your life and business take numerous expected and unexpected twists and turns. Thank you for joining me as I stroll down memory lane to explore success.
Oh, what a memory lane it has been. Oh my goodness. Thank you, Dr. Carrie. It's the expected and the unexpected turns. Oh my goodness. I love the way you
Yeah.
started and you'd reached everything at 26.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I've just reached the dream and I'm 26. And then,
Yeah.
then what has happened since then, and the expected and the unexpected, and the and I agree what you've shared and outlined to everyone, that the changing views of success. That's what I love. I love actually tapping into your world of adult learning, and which is so different to that childhood fixed view. You know, you have a fixed
Yeah.
perception.
Yeah.
If I can do it, I'm succeeding. If I'm the best, I'm definitely succeeding.
Right.
It's so structured, and it's so, what do I need to get the
Mhm.
big tick? And great. And it's either my big tick or it might be someone else's big tick. And I'll assume if they're a voice of authority, then that's the right tick for me. And
That's
it's
all it
sort of
is, right?
concept, right? And it's like, oh, it's very easy. I'm watching with my little granddaughters at the moment, and one of them is 4.5, and everything is that right, Nana? It's like,
Yes.
what
Yes.
is the way? And if it's the
Yes.
way and I do it, oh, they puff their little chest out. It's like, yes, I am the best, right? I am successful. And
Right.
if I'm not, I love it. Then they hit the floor crying, I'll never, ever,
Oh,
ever,
right.
ever do it.
We
And you just
we
go,
fall apart. We absolutely fall apart.
brain explosion. As like, oh, it's quite funny actually. It's more funny when they're a grandchild than your own child. I love it. Time and perspective has made it a bit different, but I digress. With adult learning, though, that's it. Those views of what is successful now, and then I love that time that you went across the other side of the country, and you're having new experiences, but you're also suddenly getting very much challenged of, what do I miss?
Yeah.
Missing my
Yes. Yeah.
childhood, missing a family illness, or missing
Right.
these
Right.
moments. And you go, wow, because it then suddenly linked up with your values. So you're pursuing
Right.
your own
Absolutely.
views, and that's what I heard. And I'm sure those listening in, please,
Yeah.
a couple
Yeah.
of comments as well. It's that, oh, okay, well, this is successful, and I'm leaning into this new opportunity, and I certainly should take it for all it's got. But then suddenly, in that adult journey, and I know, comment in the chat, those listening in, if this has happened to you, that, wow, I didn't know that I was going to have a moment that was actually really,
Right.
really struck at home with my values or my belief systems in certain things. I still have that same
Right.
moment. This one of my daughters had a graduation. It was a university graduation, and I went and said, I can't do it because I was doing something. And in the scheme of life, I'm like, what could I have possibly been doing? At the time, it felt I couldn't miss it, but then now I'm like, for life
Right.
now, I'm going, what was I thinking? We suddenly get
Right.
moments that challenges that view of success, that at the time I'm like, but I have to do this and this and this because that's not
Mhm.
negotiable,
Mhm.
but it is negotiable. Leslie
It is. It is.
commented, your journey of success is riveting, Dr. Carrie. Absolutely, Leslie. It is riveting. What a journey. It has been absolutely amazing journey. And I love your journey as an expert in adult learning and education, and its application to your own context. I just think that's such a
Yeah. Yeah.
reflective perspective when you're like, yeah, I'm
Mhm.
the expert, and I'm in it, and I'm learning about my own theories and framework.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah, it consistently happens for me. And so, I left out the last 10 to 12 years, or most recent 10 to 12 years of my life. But even in my business, I'm consistently reminded of, Carrie, you need to be a learner right now, right? Like with my grandchildren and with my husband, okay, I need to figure this out. And sometimes it's disruptive and other times it's not. It's simply a change. And it
yes,
really is an impression and an opportunity to be reflective of all of my years of experience and make and get to decide to redefine my perception. And that's the thing I wanted to share with
yeah,
everyone, that success, we have this assumption of what success means, but when in fact we're applying it to our lives as adults, we have to, and if we choose not to, something will force us to reevaluate how we are in fact describing success.
mm, mm. I'm really just processing those words. Are the words that you used, are your next steps your right steps in your evolution of you and your, not just you personally, but personally in all the things that are connected to you, because that's right. As you become an adult, then you're more complex because you've got dependence, got other people's lives that are integrated into your own. And so it's such a great topic that you've shared on today, because I think as all of us are on our own success journey, and it's going to look very different for all of us at our different stages. It'll also look very different in the context that we are evolving on, in different countries of the world, different opportunities, resources. And that's why I absolutely love this principle of, having so many broad perspectives in Women's Biz Tribe and through our summits, because you can actually just see that people have to, at the end of the day, you and the planet, who are you born to be? How are you evolving? What opportunities do you have? And how do you bring out the best version of yourself in that? And that concept of ongoing life learning and that constantly of reevaluating, recalibrating what's important is an overarching theme that's coming out through all of our speakers. So I think that's a reinforced point in this session, is like, you know what, that's right. What you thought before, or where you have been before, it was all great at the time, but it's not necessarily going to be great for your future.
Right. And that's not to discount it, right? I think it's easy for us to discount, oh, well, that was then. No. It is truly part of our learning process. So going back and looking at it, reevaluating it, putting it on its head, it actually is a very helpful and in some cases cathartic process or activity that we should all engage in.
Yeah. And I think that's a great place to close, actually. Don't be too hard on yourself either, because all of us have obviously at that, whatever stage of life that was, we're always trying to make the best decision we can in that context, right? And so it's very easy to look back and go, what was I thinking? Well, you were thinking brilliantly at the time, right? Because so, and I think we can often get a tendency to go, oh my gosh, I've now wasted time, or this was, but that revelation, those aha moments that you get are necessary now. It took those steps to get that moment, to get
where you are,
right to where you are today. So, oh my goodness, those listening in, you can easily find Dr. Carrie at drcarriegraham.com. She would love to hear from you if you would love to talk adult learning principles, find out more about what she does, how she helps people, the whole topic of adult learning. We're all adult learning. Like, this is everybody. Everybody is adult learning, right? It's not something that is an optional. It's like it's essential for everyone's daily life. And just the concept, if you think, oh, well, I just learn the way I've always learned, that's a time for a reassess, because childhood learning is not going to help you in your life journey moving forward. So thank you for being on our summit. You're so wise. Your knowledge sharing was just amazing. So thank you for sharing that with us. Those of you, definitely keep putting comments in the chat. If you're watching this later, you might have missed this due to your time zone. Just put #replay so that we know you are here. We'd love to reach out to you. You can also obviously reach out via Women's Biz Tribe. You've all got complimentary membership of. Come on over to any of our events. We've got daily webinars in 2 time zones. So you can just pop in there and go, oh my gosh, like, I love the summit, and I was in Dr. Carrie's session and talked about something, and whether Dr. Carrie's in that webinar or not, we'll get that back to her, and we'll create these relationships. And that's what it's all about, helping each other just get that leg up. We love to have the speed trip, to success if possible, and while learning those deep principles along the way. So thank you so much. Thanks for those who've attended. We are going to get on to our next speaker now. So just have a little quick cup of tea, and you will be hearing from, I think, Angel Tusi coming up right after this.